Roberto De Zerbi is a mastermind in the world of football today. His tactics have caught the attention of some elite clubs worldwide as he executes his strategies with finesse. He loves his side to invite pressure, break lines, and effectively use the third man principle. His unique build-up play is defined by his exceptional positional approach, and in this video, we will break down why De Zerbi's tactics have made him a highly sought-after coach. We will also recreate his style in Football Manager, so without further ado, let's get stuck in. We're gonna have a look at De Zerbi's build-up play because, we know it's just so good. It's so good. De Zerbi excels in his tactical approach to build-up play. During the low build-up phase, Brighton adopts a 4-2-4 or a 4-2-2 formation to create and maintain control of the game. De Zerbi involves many players during the build-up, including a ball-playing goalkeeper who operates from the back. The objective for De Zerbi's side when playing out is attracting the opposition's attackers to press in the middle to create space outside and exploiting it by one of the centre-backs carrying the ball or playing a splitting pass. The two ball-playing defenders are largely responsible for the flow of the team's build-up during the initial phase. To drag the opposition attackers inside, both pivot players are positioned in the central lane and distance between them is so close. Thanks to the drop-in of the defensive midfielders, the opposition attacker is drawn inside, so the centre-back can be free and break the opposition's first line by going around, and he has three options. He can carry the ball forwards, which will force the opposition to drop back into midfield. He can play through to find one of the strikers in between the lines, or playing around is another option to break the opposition midfield line. Once enticing the presser by attracting the opposition's defensive lines one at a time, De Zerbi's sides then look to use the third man principle to find the free man. This clever maneuver puts the opposition in a difficult position as they are forced to make positional dilemmas. As each consecutive line of the defense gets broken, the next one faces a challenging decision whether to press or not. In the meanwhile, through all of this, the fullbacks are position wide and possesses the same set of responsibilities as each other during the first phase of build, regardless of their playing profile. As we know by now, his teams are renowned for their vertical playing style, which remains prominent even when the fullbacks receive wide. The wingers intriguingly take up the highest position in the side during the first build-up phase. They maintain a wide and elevated position, while the striker and number 10 position themselves between the opposition's defensive line and midfield line. As pointed out by BARCA Football Channel, make sure you go and check it out, Brighton's setup on the pitch resembles an hourglass shape, with the centre-backs positioned wide and the double pivot dropping deeper. De Zerbi mentioned that the distance between the centre-backs and the defensive midfielders typically ranges from 10 to 12 metres, so very close. Then the attacking midfielder tends to shift to one side, while the centre-forward drops and adjusts slightly to the opposite side. As a result, both the striker and attacking midfielder find themselves in the half space, allowing the team to form the hourglass shape, which for De Zerbi is effective in accessing triangles and creating opportunities for diagonal passes. De Zerbi's system is always looking to create numerical advantages, striving to establish 3 versus 2 or 2 versus 1 situations in order to advance the ball through the opposition's defensive lines. Moving forward into the attacking phase and the final third, finishing phase, De Zerbi tends to keep things simple but pretty effective. In the context of high build-up, the system begins to take on a structure of a 2-3-5 or more recently a 3-1-5-2. Of course, the team structure may vary slightly as we have observed at Sassuolo and at Shakhtar. For instance, at Shakhtar, inverted wingbacks were utilised, which meant that there were not always a double pivot as one of the defensive midfielders would move forward to support the attack. In the final third, the biggest difference is the positions of the fullbacks. When playing out from the back, both fullbacks keep the width, but they come inside in the final third. Depending on the situation, one of the defensive midfielders positions himself in between the lines and the other stays deeper as a single pivot. This is the basic shape in the final third, and one of the main reasons for the narrow fullbacks is just opening the passing lane to the wingers. In the finishing phases, there's a focus on breaking down the opposition in the wider areas and executing rotations. This is crucial for the team to create cutbacks. A recurring pattern involves a fullback delivering the ball into the winger's feet rather than into open space. The winger then looks to cut inside, manipulating the space by drawing the attention of his markers and facilitating the overlap for the fullback. The fullback is then tasked with cutting the ball back. or the winger can hold on to the ball out wide with the fullback then making an underlapping run, taking a defender with him and creating a space for the winger to then move back inside. De Zerbi's number 10 role is more of a shadow striker than a significant creator, showcasing his ability in box crashing and anticipation getting into goal scoring positions. However, there's still an importance in connecting play with the attacking line, serving as a support to the striker, combining and making counter movements. The role of the striker is not only to convert scoring opportunities, but also the need to collaborate with strikers, creating space for them, possessing the capability to drop deeper to link up play and distribute the ball into wider areas. Off the ball, there is also an expectation to engage defenders, be intense and contribute to Brighton's high recovery. Lastly, the wingers. Generally, De Zerbi uses opposite-footed players on the wings, so for an example, the left-footed player will be on the right wing and that enables them to cut inside as the play unfolds. These wingers are direct creators and exploiters of space, responsible for a lot of the team's creations. Lastly, Brighton out of possession. Brighton do place a lot of value in being aggressive without the ball. Brighton usually go man-to-man and vigorously press the opposition. When pressing high, the basic system is a 4-4-2, but they highly focus on marking the opponents instead of being compact as a team. By marking the opponents individually, basically their pressing trigger is a pass to one of the opposition centre-backs from the goalkeeper. And because Brighton can have many players positioned centrally to create advantages in midfield, it sets up favourable conditions for defensive transitions. Players being in close proximity to the ball after losing possession enables a good counter press. That wraps up the analysis. Because we have done a De Zerbi tactic almost every year since me tactic content creating, we have to keep these ideas fresh. So I have been watching a Roberto De Zerbi webinar, but also shout out to Dom and Barca Football on Twitter. And lastly, on Football Benseki, this is a fantastic tactical analysis looking at De Zerbi's build-up play. But now in Football Manager, we're going to have a look at the tactic that got us second with Brighton and in the Europa final. We've also got a tactic with Bayern and Barca should De Zerbi move to one of those clubs. Knowing me, he's probably just going to go to Liverpool, ain't he? Let's get stuck into that tactic. Before we do get stuck in though, I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody on Patreon for their support. I really do appreciate it. It's genuinely an amazing feeling seeing you guys sign up. If you do want to support the channel and myself, make sure you do head over to the Patreon where we are doing things like bonus content. There is a lot of tactical talk, but my favorite thing has to be the bonus content where this exact De Zerbi tactic, we already put this up on Patreon, the test, and we smash, absolutely smash a hobby like Zik 6-2 away from home. So make sure you join man like Aaron, Michael, Steam, Blood, Manga, Tobias and Sharol on my Patreon. Come and join them. Come and support me if you want to. But now let's head over into Football Manager. Of course, we are going to line up in a 4-2-3-1, but we do want that 4-2-4 flavour to our formation. So we're going to slightly grab João Pedro, moving to the right-hand side, slightly grab Ferguson, moving to the left-hand side, and then you can even see Football Manager as well now recognises this as a 4-2-4. Now, what this allows us to do is give Ferguson a very specific role. So when we are building out from the back, we want Ferguson to drop deep into this area here. João Pedro will already be in his position, and then we can get our wingers to be positioned as the highest players in the team during that low build-up. There's going to be variations of this tactic. So I've got the general Brighton one when you're away against the top 6 sides, and then one when you've got easy fixtures at home. Then I've got one when you're Bayern and one with Barca. So don't miss out the information on those tactics in case they are more suited for your team on Football Manager. But with the player roles, we're going to start with the goalkeeper, and with Bruggen, we're going to put him as a sweeper keeper on attack, helping us build out from the back. The fullbacks, I really want to emphasize on them having the same set of responsibilities. So for the left back, fullback on attack, and then for the right back, he's also on attack, getting further forward, hoping he can mix it up with the overlaps, and the underlaps, depending on the situation and where the winger has the ball. If he has it out on the wider areas, hopefully Veltman can underlap. If Matoma has it on the inside looking to bring the ball inside, then hopefully Purvis, the left back can overlap, creating and just dragging markers away. In the back line, the two centre backs, we do have Lewis Dunk being the ball playing defender, and then his partner will also be a ball playing defender. For the double pivot, now I don't really like this, but in terms of recreation and what I'm seeing on the match engine, again, once again, the best solution in the double pivot is just using two defensive midfielders on support. I feel it just provides us with great balance. We can then do things in the player instructions which makes them behave slightly different. So for an example, the left side of defensive midfielder, he will be holding his position. So as we move further forward, I want him to then be basically the single pivot. And then Pascal Gross, he will be looking to get further forward and support the attackers more often. In the attack line, again, we have these double roles. Matoma is an inside forward on support, but then so is Solly March. I did try and add some variety. So for the left winger, I did try him on inverted winger. I even tried him on as a winger and then allowed Purvis to underlap. So Purvis always underlaps and then Joel Veltman always overlaps. But then again, for better balance, better results, it was just better with two inside forwards on support. João Pedro, attacking midfielder on attack, breaking forward, making those counter movements. As Ferguson drops deep, João Pedro can get further forward, but so too can Matoma, and then Purvis can then overlap and get further forward. Now for the team instructions, the style of play, the mentality is stuck at balance. The attacking width is on very, very narrow. Try and get those narrow positioning, but also play through the middle initially. But then when we want to attack, then there's going to be a little bit of focus down those wider areas. Play out from the back. The passing directness is shorter with the tempo set to slightly higher. Lastly, in the final third, helping with those cutbacks, low crosses. In transition, we do have counter press and counter when the possession has been won, and the goalkeeper will be looking to distribute it to the centre backs. Lastly, out of possession, we've got the high press, the much higher defensive line. You know what? Everything is basically just maxed out, which for me just gives me better results on Football Manager. It doesn't necessarily mess with the style of play, or it's not necessarily giving me something that De Zerbi doesn't do out of possession, but with the mentality unbalanced, the pressing can always be more aggressive if we start upping that mentality, which we have. Now, when you have easier fixtures or teams that just look to sit back, you know, the Lutons, the Sheffield Uniteds, we now operate with a positive mentality. We also have dribble less on because now I've upped the mentality. I did notice that players were starting to take the ball and just dribble with it, even though the pass was clearly on. When you're up against the top six sides away from home, we have now dropped the fullback to support. Out of possession, the trigger press has dropped by 1 as well. That's the Brighton setup. I haven't forgot about the player instructions. We're going to have a look at them when looking at the Barca and Bayern tactic. At Munich, this is what we ended up with. Kane is no longer a deep lying forward. He's now a complete forward, and Sane is no longer an inside forward on support. He is the inverted winger on attack. So clearly the inverted winger on attack worked better at Bayern Munich. Davies is now a fullback on support, and the two centre backs actually are centre backs rather than ball playing defenders. Kimmich is a ball playing defender, so deep lying playmaker, I should say. So there are a lot of changes at Bayern. The mentality is on positive, but then we're trying to keep that sort of style of play. The idea is the same with the narrow attacking width, focus down the flanks, play out from the back, short passing with a slightly higher tempo. In transition, I'm not sure if it's the league or not, but it was better without the counter press. It could be down to the mentality as well. And lastly, out of possession, it is the same as it was at Brighton. And lastly, for the Barca system, fairly the same as the Bayern, but now De Jong is a DLP on defense, Balde is a fullback on attack, and Koundé is an inverted fullback on defense. So I've sort of just found the player roles that are suited to the players in those positions, though De Jong could easily be on support. The mentality, in fact, is on attacking. Attacking width is now set to fairly wide with the shorter passing and the tempo set to standard. So now, as we're up the mentality, we've also dropped the tempo. Out of possession, again, fairly the same, but this time no gets stuck in. So now the player instructions. For the Brighton tactic, both fullbacks will be crossing from the byline, though the left back takes more risk and the right back sits more narrow. The centre backs will be passing shorter and dribbling less. The two DMs, well, the right hand side pass it shorter, get further forward, tackle harder. On the left is pass it shorter, hold his position and tackle harder, moving into the attack. Hold up the ball, tackle harder for both wingers. Attacking midfielder dribbles more, shoot more often, move into the channels and tackle harder. second striker, and then the DLF will be tackling harder. That's for the Brighton tactic. For the Bayern tactic, it's going to be fairly the same. So the striker tackle harder, the left winger holding up the ball but also sit more narrow, and the inside forward on the right will be holding up the ball, tackling harder. Attacking midfielder, the same as before. I believe the attacking midfielder is the same in all. It's not in the same as the Barca one. The DLP passing it shorter, tackling harder, while the defensive midfielder on support is pass it shorter, hold position, tackle harder. Balde take more risks, cross from the byline. Kunde cross from the byline, sit more narrow. Lastly, the Barca tactic, cross from the byline, tackle harder. The left back is cross from the byline, tackle harder, so the same. The two DMs tackle harder. You know what? There was little care with this Barca one, weren't there? You can tell this Barca one was created fairly early. But that there is the tactic wrapped up. We're now going to play that Europa League final and then also look at the results. I got my little son's headphones on, so hopefully he can bring me some luck in this Europa League final where Brighton, of course, haven't won a European trophy before. We have Sporting away from home, so it's going to be a difficult game. But let's get stuck in. This is the lineup. So we are using the Brighton top 6 away version. I believe we should use it. Let's go into the final. So hands on hip, ignore the recent praises, and then I'm just going to point my fingers and try and motivate you. Here's the Sporting side. Yulkadesh up top with Gonçalves and Trincao on the flanks of him. But here is the Brighton setup. Hopefully this 4-2-3-1/4-2-4 can do the business in the Europa League final. La 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 la. This music is way better. I don't know if you can even hear it. Come on, Brighton. The game has kicked off and Brighton have had the early chance. Great play by Matoma there at the bottom as well. 20 minutes have passed and not a single highlight with all the possession is sort of shared now. But here's Veltman, João Pedro. What I'm going to do actually is highlight all these players quickly. There we are. That should be everyone highlighted. I can also see that sneaky right back there. We got him. Here's Pascal Gross. Man said Patrick. Van Heck, Mulder, Jakob Mulder. Well done. Patient. Here we are. Patient. We don't need to force it, even though we've got that high tempo. But I did explain in the video before, sometimes it's also about the player roles and the instructions that are set on them that will also determine how fast they will play. Look at the patient. Look at the football. Oh, Purvis, don't shoot. Mulder, we need to break through March. Oh my God, that would have been one of the greatest Football Manager goals ever. Wow. Some football that. But here is Solly March. Whips it in. Oh, the goalkeeper just punches it. Matoma, have a shot, son. Oh, he's back here with it. Oh. So we got Sporting on the ropes a little bit here. Oh, here's Joel Veltman. I believe this came from us building out from the back. Maybe not. Oh, let's go back a little bit. Let's see where they started. Here's their centre back. Oh, they lose the ball in midfield. Jakob Mulder, Matoma. We are not afraid to pass the ball backwards. Here's Dunk, Pascal Gross. Almost calling Patrick again. My God. Here's Veltman. I don't want you running with the ball so often. Here's Van Heck. Gross. That's a ball. Almost finds either Ferguson or Matoma. No. Oh, unlucky. Veltman, Mulder, Van Heck. Solly March, come on, cut in, whip it, far post. Oh! So that's half-time. Brighton have had the chances actually to go 1-0 ahead. So the half-time team talk will be very important here. Oh, I don't know what to say. We can very much win this game here, lads. We don't have anyone that's nervous or complacent or anything like that. So come on, man, we're in decent shape to go and get this goal in the second half. Here's Van Heck. Pascal, I thought he was going to Pascal Gross. Says Dunk finds João Pedro to drop in forward, but he passes it back to Dunk. Dunk sets it all the way back to Verbregen. Come on, man, can we attract their press? Oh, it breaks through though. Here's Matoma. Go on, down the byline and then cut back. He cuts it back and there's Ferguson! De Zerbi's going wild on the sideline as Brighton work the ball down the byline for a cutback. Matoma, though, he just goes alone sort of here. There's no sort of overlap or underlap run helping from Purvis. It's just Matoma running towards the byline, setting up Ferguson. But look at the box. So we had Solly March, we had João Pedro and Ferguson all ready to tap that one in. It is now Sporting 0, Brighton 1. We're going to have to use a shout here. I might fire up the boys. Cross whips. What an awful header. What an awful header. So it's time to make a sub. I love Adingra on this game. So we're going to bring... Oh, no, he's injured. So we're going to get Asensio. Oh, João Pedro's knackered. Jakob seems a bit pressured. We're going to get Beleba. Lamptey, I like you, son. Let's get you on as well. Come on, boys, man. Let's just get this win. Oh, no. Well done, Asensio. No mistakes. Oh, look at the confidence to play out. Look at the confidence. Here's João Pedro. Come on, one more. Mitoma, look at the link up. Look at this football. Beleba, Purvis. Glass! The football was spectacular. But Sporting have now gone into a 4-2-4. That is dangerous. But that seems to have wrapped up the game and Brighton's first European trophy. They're getting corners in the last minute here. I don't like that. But Brighton have won the Europa League. There we are. Well done. And thank you to everyone that's watched this video. We are now going to have a look at the results that we got with Brighton and Bayern Munich. With Barca, I did only do around half a season. Let's go! So as that has wrapped up the season, we are now going to look at the results. Brighton came in second, winning 25, drawing 6, majority of them away from home, and losing 7 again, majority away from home. Though towards the end of the season, you can see the performance just started to dip, especially at home. But in the FA Cup, we got knocked out in the quarterfinal by Newcastle, and in the Carabao Cup, we got knocked out in the 4th round by Arsenal. Statistically, we were very good. Brighton did score 109 goals. I did use my set piece routine, admittedly. Near post, you can't go wrong. We had the most shots for, fewest shots against, most possession. We do come in 8th, but passes completed, we were 5th. So we were the side with majority of the ball, especially with the pitch tilt as well, played in the opposition's half. But defensively, we were pretty solid as well, given the weakness of the system. We came in 4th with the clean sheets and 3rd with the fewest conceded. With Bayern, you already know we done really well. In the Bundesliga, we won 30 out of the 34 games. In the Champions League, we lost 3-2 to Manchester City in extra time. I mean, that's heartbreaking. Though Manchester City, I mean, looking at the XG, you could say they deserved it, but though the penalty, I mean, they scored in the 84th. We were 2-0 up. 84th, 88th, and 104th. I say we was. I didn't play that. That was instant resulted. The DFB Pokal, we beat Bayern 3-0 in the final, and we beat Leipzig in the final of the German Cup. Statistically, we scored the most goals, most shots for, fewest shots against, most possession, and yeah, best defense. And lastly, at Barca, we only got to January, but we played 18, won 16, drawn 2. In the Champions League, we got Inter away in the first leg of the round of 16s. Looking at the stats, most goals for Barcelona, most shots for Barcelona, fewest shots against Barcelona, best possession, fewest shots conceded, and most clean sheets. So best defense, best attack for Barca as well. And unfortunately, that wraps up today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Where do you think De Zerbi will be going? Bayern, Barca, or Liverpool? You tell me in the comments below, and also make sure you check out the Patreon if you want to support myself and the channel. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. God bless. Peace out. Boop.